getting back the code from Google. So I used a different account. So today's recording is in a different account. Okay, so there are 3 pillars in Scrum, and we call that transparency, inspection, and adoption. Okay. I have this slide, but I have a better information also. I'll email it to you all. Okay. I'll put it on text file for folks online. You can just copy and paste it on your notepad or however you want. Okay. So the other notes I have. And usually it's a very important part of the Scrum certification. Whether you take product owner or Scrum Master, they keep repeating this part: transparency, inspection, adoption. Okay. Basically, transparency is kind of like telling you the visibility also, right? Everyone knows who's doing what, things like that, the progress and whatnot. Okay. So transparency allows all facets of any Scrum process to be observed by anyone. Okay. We'll talk about some charts in Scrum called burn down chart, burn up chart, which helps people give a good perspective of how the project is progressing. Also, there are things like task board that again shows the overall project status. Okay. So some of the artifacts for the transparency is project vision statement, prioritize product backlog, release planning schedule. Okay. What is a project vision statement? Basically, it's the overall vision for the project. Let's say your company wants to have an email system, right? So maybe your project vision is to create the world's most ultimate email system or something like that. Or maybe I can say create an email where it's it has some basic features, something like that, right? So that's my vision statement. Okay. Prioritize backlog, you all know that, right? All the items in the product backlog, and it gets prioritized, right? So user stories get prioritized by the product owner. Technical stories are prioritized by the development team. Defects also get prioritized by product owner. Okay, because they may know what is the urgency of fixing this defects versus something else. Okay, now I'm getting Google verification. Wow. Release planning schedule. Basically, when you cannot release anything in a single sprint, you need multiple sprints. That becomes release. Okay. So you could take out stuff from product backlog and put it in release backlog. And then from there you can pick from release backlog, you pick stuff and you can put it in sprint and start the sprint. So stuff in backlog for sprint is called sprint backlog. In release it's called release backlog. And in product, the entire suite is called product backlog. Okay. So what are the meetings for that? Sprint review meetings and daily stand-up meetings for transparency. Okay. Sprint review meeting is what? Basically, you can call it demo also. This is where you go and run the feature, run the product, and show to the customer to say, look, this is what we built and it's working. Okay. In that, you go through all your acceptance criteria. Okay. Daily stand-up. Remember that 15-minute meeting? Yeah. So 15 minutes is the max 15-minute, right? You should, yeah, if you can do it in 10, even better. Information radiators are burn down charts, Scrum board. Scrum board is task board that I was talking about. We call it Scrum board also, and burn down charts. All right, for inspection. Here's what I'm sure you all know by now that Scrum is kind of like you build the first step, experiment with it, looks good, you go to the next step. Waterfall is like there is no evaluation or experimenting with like, is this part working? No, this whole entire huge product. Maybe you want to build maybe a Navy destroyer or something like that. You build the whole product. The Scrum mindset is, you know what? Put a tugboat, put a machine gun on it, and send it to the war. We will learn from that lessons, and we'll build something much better than that. Okay. So they will not wait like a couple of maybe 4 or 5 years to build this ultimate destroyer. Okay.
It's kind of slow poisoning.
Yeah, slow poisoning. Okay. So inspection, use of a common Scrum board and other information radiators. Collection of feedback from the customer and other stakeholders. Basically, inspection is telling you what? You build something and you inspect and see where should we go. So it's like a continuous feedback coming to you every 2 weeks, every 2 weeks. Okay. Collection of feedback from the customer and other stakeholders during the development of epics, right? Create, prioritize product backlog and conduct release planning process. Inspection and approval of the deliverables by the product owner and the customer in the demonstrate and validate sprint process. Basically, your demo and okay. The third item is adaptation. So we have daily standard meetings for that. Constant risk identification, change requests, Scrum guidance board, retrospective. So when you learn less and when you're giving you're given inputs, you try to adapt to things, right? Okay. So where are those things your input will be? So your retrospective for the sprint, for the project. You go consult, some Scrum organization, call in experts, maybe hire a coach, right? So these are all part of adaptation. Okay. Okay. And an important part of retrospective meeting is those 3 questions, right? What we can improve upon, right? What should we stop doing? What should we start doing? Okay. So yeah, remember these 3 things. You can remember the word TIA, right? Transparency, inspection, and adaptation.
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
So what is the 3 things in short? The retrospective meeting, start, stop, and
continue.
Continue.
Start, stop, continue. But chances are when you will say this to someone who has done even certification, they may say, "What do you mean by start, stop, continue?"
This for my
for your own, right?
Yeah.
But you can suggest this to a team to say, "Look, we should." Chances are people will be expecting you to say what went wrong, what went well, what we can improve, right? Let me see if I can text this in the chat. There you go, folks online. Yeah, so you can copy and paste it on Word document or however you want. Okay, so you don't need to worry about typing. So those are called 3 pillars of Scrum. Okay. Here's one more thing product owners they do. Besides writing user stories and besides prioritizing the product backlog, they also shield the team from any kind of external request that can change the scope of the project. Okay, so basically what this means is, let's say a sprint started. You're on the first day of the sprint. Here comes CEO saying, "Oh, this is urgent. Get this one out." So they will say, "Let us put it in the backlog. We'll make that the highest priority, and we'll do it in 2 weeks because we just started our sprint." Okay. So they are the people who will shield the team, product owner. But that may not happen in most of the organization. They may be the people who are pushing. Okay. But in this is one of the roles. I mean, for a product owner, this is one of the duties a product owner should be performing. So what happens when you picked 4 user stories and you were only able to do 3? Put 1 in there. But what if you did all 4 before the sprint ends? What do? Do you end the sprint early? No. So sprint will be fixated. What you do is you pick another story from the product backlog. Okay. So let's say in the product backlog we have like another 100 product backlog items, right? And the top priority takes 20 hours to do. And you have like 8 hours left to finish the sprint. Should you pick that, or should you pick something that has low priority, right? But it's 4 hours, 8 hours, 6 hours, something like that, and you can say, yeah, let's.
Yeah, look at the next one.
Nope. You always pick the highest priority still, even though you know you're not going to finish in the sprint. But what happens is in the next sprint you'll finish it up in less hours, right?
So priority first.
Priority first. Okay.
If you skip ahead, it won't mesh properly sometimes, right?
It won't. No, there is nothing wrong in if you have time left, pull stuff from the product backlog.
I mean, like something that's lower priority instead of going to the next one.
So if you pick the lower priority instead of picking the higher priority, you have like 10 hours. You pick a lower priority that was 10 hours exactly versus high priority that was 12 hours, right? Mm-hmm. What will happen is you will deliver the product to customer. Let's say you finish it up, but that's not the highest value for the customer. And remember, in Scrum, we pay attention to delivering the highest value.
It's like dessert rather than the one that main course.
Exactly. I mean, for them, the next one was like, I wanted appetizer. I was waiting for appetizer, and you bring in dessert for them. Yeah, they will eat dessert. It was in their menu, a list of things they wanted, but honestly, that's not the right time for the dessert, right? So that's why you have to bring the. All right. Now, when the team pulls the user stories for the sprint, so let's say they pulled in 10 user stories, and you have like a full 7 team member. Okay. When you start your the entire team should work on the highest priority user story, or we call it top user story.
Within those 10.
Within those 10. So you're like, you know what? In project management, they have this joke. You know, if it were up to project managers, they would put 9 women in a room and get the baby out in 1 month, right? So that is not possible, right? Idea is good, but it's not possible, right? There are some work, even though you throw more bodies at it, you cannot finish it early. Maybe the rest 4 or 5 will just stand and watch because it can only be done by 2 people. So your ultimate goal is on the top user story, throw the maximum bodies, right? Whatever left over, you put on the next high priority. Okay. Now, bad thing to do is You put one in each user story, continue everything. Guess what? Nothing gets finished. So you're not delivering anything in the sprint. But if you throw maximum amount of resources on the top story, and whatever left over is in the next user story. So let's say out of 10, we were only able to do half of them, like 5, but at least you delivered 5 top things that customer wanted. Okay. Now go ahead.
Could you give like a real world example?
What could be?
Yeah. Like let's say you're just developing a program or something. What would you consider?
Let's say we're creating a search a search feature in your product.
Mm-hmm.
It has 2 parts of it: the front end and the back end. You need database, right? Connection, right? So maximum you can put 2 people. One will work on the front end, other on the back end, right? And that's it. So you throw 2 people. Even though you're like, you know what, let's put 3 so we can finish fast, but you're like, no, we cannot. Okay. That may even cause interruption to other 2, right? You'll be like, let me put 2 DB person in the back end, right? They'll be like, it's a 1-person job. Unnecessary trying to. Right? Okay. And then you have another feature for, like, let's say in that same sprint is to create the output, like how the output will be. Maybe you can throw another developer on that. Okay. Good. Mm-hmm. So there's a term we often use called a critical path. Okay. Critical path means if this person doesn't finish the job, the entire project can go down the drain. Okay. So if the developer is, like, let's say same thing, search, they're building the search product, right? So basically, if they don't finish it up, the guy who's, testers are just going to sit and wait. Nothing will be done, right? Usually testers are not in the critical path unless you have a different process called test-driven development. So I'll talk about that later. Usually developers are in the critical path. If they don't finish up, we won't be able to deliver. So design document, let's say, or the design tech lead is always in critical path, because if this person doesn't finish up design, the developers cannot build that, right? So there could be a certain feature that if it's not finished, we cannot build the other features because all the other features are dependent on this. So the person who's working on it, he or she is on the critical path. Okay. Now, important thing is, if this person is running behind the schedule, there's a term called swarming. Where team from other user stories will try to jump and help this person out. Okay. And again, if it's only 1-person deal, then it is. But maybe this person needs new ideas to finish it early or something like that. Whatever help can be provided. Okay. So when you hear the word swarming, meaning one of the person is behind the schedule now, so everyone is swarming to get it out within that sprint team. Yeah, within that. Yes, exactly. Okay. And also, let's say one of the team member finishes early. Before even picking up a new user story, they should go and see if they need help in the team to finish the current user stories.
So right? Who would you ask? Because you can't call another meeting.
We'll get there. But I'll tell you one quick one. Basically, in the stand-up meeting, which happens every day, and then the part of transparency, right? And we said for transparency we use burn-down chart, right? And the task board, right? So the burn-down chart tells you every day whether you're going to be ahead of schedule or behind the schedule. And I'm going to show you what burn-down chart looks like and what is the concept behind it. Okay. Also, task board tells you the progress of each task. So that is another way to know. Okay. Now in Scrum team, the team members should be self-organizing and cross-functional. Okay. Self-organizing means you guys decide who's going to do what. So if you take a user story, you do a task breakdown on it. Okay. Basically, a user story will need design, coding, right? Testing. You have to write test cases to test it out, right? And if you have automation in place, you have to do automation also, right? So let's say it has 5 tasks right here. Okay. So what we do is we take a user story, we put all the tasks, we break it down into tasks, and now the team members, they decide on their own who will do what task. Okay. And these tasks are displayed on the task board. So you have the visibility who's on it and what's the status, like is it in progress, is it done, is it getting tested, all that stuff.
So who would be in charge of determining the whole path forward and everything?
Task board is two things you can do. You can even actually put a physical task board, or there are tools like Jira. It has it, and you can drag and drop tasks. I'll show you a task board in a minute. Not from Jira, I'll make my own quick one on Paintbrush or something. But you can download Jira, not download, but sign up for a 30-day trial. Jira. Yeah. And play around with it. Get comfortable with the task board. Okay. All right, so let's get into task board and here you go. This is a task board. So here you put user stories. In this column, you'll put your user stories. Like create login, create the registration. Oops. And then you can, create another row called create search functionality, create editing for registration, blah blah, right? And then what happens? Team will do a task breakdown. Okay, and you can give color code to the task also, which is like the high priority within the task or whatnot, or which task will be like the critical path, things like that. Right? And you dump it in this row. So the first day, basically after the planning is done, like when you estimate the user stories, right? And you say, okay, these are the user stories we'll pull in. And how do you decide how many user stories to pull in? Is you look at the team capacity, right? You may have 7-member team, but there is a holiday in there. And then someone is adding an extra vacation, right? An extra vacation, so you subtract another 8 hours. Okay. Also, just so you know, in Scrum, they say you are productive only 6 hours a day. Yes, not 8. Because on an average, 2 hours goes away and someone interrupting you also. Because when someone interrupts you, it takes another 4 or 5 minutes for you to get back into that zone. Okay? And meetings and email, responding to email and whatnot. Okay? Now, when we had the coach, we had these little flags, like some indicator, for 2 reasons. One is to say, hey, this person is in critical path, do not disturb him. Boom, the flag goes up. Okay. Nobody goes to this person. You want questions asked, either go to another person in the team or go to the Scrum Master. Okay. Now, here's one thing. I'm sure you all noticed that as soon as we get closer to 2 hours, you guys get bored and your mind goes somewhere else. Oh, today I gotta go see the Ferrari. So all these start to come in as you are progressing towards your 2 hour, right? And they found out the ultimate performance that I can get, or your attention span, is 90 minutes, hour and a half. So this coach, what he did was, he said, turn on the timer. Use your iPhone or computer, whatnot. Work for 90 minutes. Do not answer to any instant messages, emails, or whatnot. 90 minutes, straight up. And after 90 minutes, go take care of the emails or if anybody you want to talk to. But think about the Ferrari. Yeah, do a little bit online of Ferrari for half hour. Then come back.
Reboot.
Then reboot another. So if you do 4 sessions like that, that's 6 hours right there. So you can only be 6 hours productive. So when you calculate your team capacity, you put 6 hours a day, right? So 5 people. So 30 hours per person multiplied by 5, 150 hours.
I want to leave.
Yeah. Maybe you're taking a vacation. There you go. Subtract that, 6 hours. Okay. So once you calculate the capacity, you pull in that amount of user story. Okay. So that's all part of planning. Okay. Now once you are done with doing the pulling in the stories in the sprint backlog, then you do a task breakdown. And then the team decides, oh, I will take this one, I'll take that one, I'll take this one. Blah, blah, blah.
So who is it? The team decides who wants what task, or?
Team. That's why team is self-organizing team. Team is cross-functional, meaning that it's not like, oh, I'm an automation tester, so I'm not going to touch manual testing. No, what if automation tester called in sick and he's behind? Then someone from manual group will jump in and take over. So that's why they all should know each other's tasks. Even developers get involved in testing. Okay? But I have hardly seen testers getting involved in development. But Agile Scrum says that should be the way. That testers can do development, developers can do testing. It should be like total cross-functional.
Either way.
Yep, either way it should be. And that's why many manual testers, they get uncomfortable, who have done, like, let's say they are trained very good in Agile Scrum, they get a little uncomfortable when they hear like, oh, the bosses are deciding to bring in Agile Scrum. That means
They have to start learning.
Yeah, they better get into coding. Now, in the past 10 years, if you wanted to be in IT and you hate coding or you don't like coding, go become a tester. But that's not the case. From like last 3 years, I'm seeing that's not the case. And one of the fear is I can easily see maybe going future 4 or 5 years, manual testing will be like obsolete thing. Or the pay scale for manual testing will go drastically down because it will become like a dime a dozen. Okay. Coding is something still a lot of people are not grasping it. So that's why please push yourself towards coding. Okay. I even know there was a doctor who was totally fed up with all the applications that he was being given. He went and he took a course in Python or whatnot because he wanted to like build his own app.
Streamline everything.
Yeah. Okay. So there are cases like that where you will realize whether you could be a lawyer or a doctor or something. This programming is going to hit you soon, very soon or later. Okay. Think like coding is you have a bachelor's degree, but you never took English. You don't know how to write essay. You don't know how to read essay, right? So that's what the future is holding. Okay. For this, I'll have to turn on the camera so the folks in the class can see exactly what's going on with the taskboard. Okay. Uh, I will grab a few more things. I will show you all a little bit a different format of um, user story cards that is compared to the one I showed everyone yesterday. That's how a user story looks like. And this template. And the gray one is the task cards. Okay. So for the folks who are online, I'm going to turn on the
So these task cards are similar to the ones that you gave out yesterday.
yeah, I gave you the smaller version or whatnot.
This is the full on.
This is the full on. Okay, I cannot turn on my camera. Why? Oh, okay. I know. Yes. Can you all see the Scrum task board? This is what you're seeing on your desktop. Okay. Basically, that's the screen. Okay. So here you go. This is the Scrum card. That's how it looks like. Your user story card. Okay. So on the maybe it's not still clear. Here the name of the user story will go. Okay. The ranking is on this side right here. Okay. And then it says test strategy over here. Okay. This is where your acceptance criteria will go. Okay. So remember, test strategy, test scenario, acceptance criteria, confirmation. This is all right there. And the top part is description. Basically, you'll write your user story. Okay. So once the user story is written and ranked by the product owner, it will get estimated, right?
As a user,
yeah.
I have to do this.
Yeah, and you'll slap it right here. This is first story. Okay. Your second user story. Slap it right here. I hope you all can see the user story. Yeah. Don't worry about the text. There you go. If it's pausing. Okay. Now, tasks are written in small cards like this. Okay. It will have hours, how long it will take to finish the task. Okay. Now, keep in mind the task will be written by whoever, like the team members. Okay. And team members, sorry, not team members, but development team. Okay, team members are product owner, scrum master, and developers, right? Development team. Development team comprises of testers and developers. Okay. In Scrum, we don't have testers. Okay. We just say development team, which means testers and developers. Okay. So this is your task. So let's say we did a task breakdown, and we will put all the tasks associated to this. Let's say I have 3 tasks for this user story, right? And maybe next, and 2 tasks for this user story. Okay. And like 4 tasks. Who cares? I have more of these. So 4 tasks for the bottom one, but you see it's in the to-do column. Okay, meaning that we have not started yet. So now when the sprint starts, the team member will come and say, oh, okay, I'll do this one right here. And I'll pick it up and I'll put it in progress, right? But remember, we have to put most of the resources on the top story. Now, the way the stories are put on the task board is according to the priority, the rank, right? The highest priority, the highest ranking, then low, low, low. And that's why many times they use the term, we are working on top user story. Basically, they're saying we are working on the highest priority.
And will these will be changing daily?
As the progress is happening.
Depends on the program.
If the people are sleeping in the team, it won't change daily. It will just stay there, right? So let's say, yeah, we have a little progress there. Move this, right? Next day, maybe this is to verify, right? Basically, meaning needs testing, right? It's ready for testing, and then maybe while this person finished up and he went here or she went there and say, okay, here you go. Next day, they're still in progress. There you go, right? So sudden, I'll just slowly move. Okay, they started to move next day like this, right? Right here. And end of the sprint, guess what happened? They couldn't finish these 2 tasks. So the bottom user story will go to the backlog, right? Knowing that we have a little bit left to do on this one, okay? And this one, after the demo is completed and the product owner gives a thumbs up, all this gets picked up, and along with the user story part gets put in the done. Okay.
The second one goes to the backlog.
Second one will go to the product backlog.
And then you reassess it.
Then you go to take the priority again.
Yes.
Start on
Maybe it may become the top story the next time, or maybe it will go down, or maybe they'll say we'll never work on it.
So those chances are could be
All these are possible. Okay. What else? So this is called a dashboard. Now, you could have a physical one. That's why they have these cards in the market available. That you can use cards. You can make your own card also.
Could be flashcards.
Flashcard. Use the flashcard. Write a user story there. Slap it on the board. Okay. But most of the companies they use software because it helps you, and also I'm too lazy to walk to the dashboard. I'll just log into my system and see it from there. Let's say some VP or whatnot, right? So they will see the dashboard on their software. We can go. Since we have tools, so we have this historical data. We can go back and do some analysis to see when we were estimating, was it correct or wrong, all that stuff. So the tool is a better way to go. But again, Agile Scrum is not telling you to have a tool or which tool to pick, right? It's just saying you should have something like this. Whether you do it on a software or you do it physically like this. And guess what? The coach made us do the physical one, even though we had the software. Okay. The done column is very important. Remember when we were going yesterday over the Scrum principles, and I mentioned that don't think oh, I did a tiny bit is left, let's call it done. No. Basically, you should have a checklist next to your dashboard, right? And you should say, okay, have you met all these criteria? If you have met all these criteria, then it is called done. Many times this column is called DOD, not Department of Defense. Means definition of done. Okay, so you have to describe what means definition of done. So actually, the definition of done is if it's demoed and approved by the product.
So once I'm going to the putting in the done everything, then I have to check the list DOD.
I know. Actually, before putting, check the list. Yeah. If you have met all the criteria, then you put it to done. And one of the criteria of done is it should be approved by product owner. If the product owner says, no, you missed out on the acceptance criteria, this one thing, and it's not working or it failed during the demo.
So once I put in the done, the user story, then the product owner is gonna check everything. Then, or before he's gonna check.
Before, yeah. So basically, when you go to meeting, chances are it will be in the verify, and then you do it.
So the verification part can be with the product owner, right?
Verify can be with the product owner meeting.
That means after once everything is done, before I put in the done, so the product owner can check that time.
No, remember the checking will happen on the demo, the review meeting. Right? Okay. Now, problem with the software part. So this is what we call is the physical way and by going by books, right? But the software these days are you have to put it in done. So the team knows and the VPs know it's done, and it subtracts the hours from your how to say your totals, right? If you don't put it in done, it is not considered done, and then you raise eyebrows for others, right? But actually, the ultimate done is by bugs is when the product owner approves it or accepts it. Yes. Until then, you could put it in done column, but it's not undone. Okay. But most of these tools, usually people will put it in done. I've seen that. Okay. You could maybe create another category, but usually they say keep minimum columns. Okay. So this is just try not to expand more than that. Why? Simple. Simplicity is one of the key things in Agile also. Keep it simple. Have you heard what is the abbreviation of KISS? KISS? Keep it simple, stupid, right? That's why, Agile is, Okay. But if you want, you can put another column in there to say validation done or something like that. Right. And then after done, there is like, Okay. All right. So in the end, we can see, okay, how many user stories we did, but not. Okay. Questions for anyone online? No? Are we all set? Okay. So that was your task board.
So Jira is the standard, basically. I'm sorry? Jira is the standard for.
Not really. There is another good tool called RanDev. It's pretty awesome tool actually. I'd say it's like the cream of the crop. Yes, but it's expensive also. Yeah, RallyDev. But it's expensive, and actually, there's this one company. I don't want to use the name. I have some friends there, and she called me one day and said, saying, do you know any tool, that is good for Scrum? I was like, last time I met you, you said you were using RallyDev. Yeah, but we are switching away from it. I'm like, yeah, the company cannot afford it now. I'm like, I think you should pack your stuff first. If they are, they went for a tool, now they're changing tool for the purpose to save money. I don't think so. That's a good idea. What are you going to do with like all the 3-4 years of historical data from there? Move it to another thing. But there are some companies that do that. Okay, do you all see the Scrum board now, or no? Yeah, or let me. Yes? One sec. Oh, not my bad. Uh-oh. My cursor. Okay, there you go. Now let's look at the burn down chart. we will focus on 2 lines over here. I have no clue what this remaining task is all about. Okay, and why is it up beyond this? Okay, and complete a task like right here. Again, keep it simple. So let's say you have 300 hours, but I'm still sticking with 300 hours. There's something called user story points. We'll get into it when it comes to estimation, but let's for now keep the mindset of hours. You have 300 hours, 2 weeks to finish, right? Your team capacity is 300 hours, and your sprint is 2-week sprint. Okay. So chances are, when you pick user stories, you'll pick 300 hours of user story or less, right? Maybe could be a little more, right? Thinking that maybe I'll try to push this time a little harder. Okay. See the red line? It is called the ideal burn down.
This is the actual.
This is the estimated one.
Estimated time.
Yeah.
Who makes that?
Scrum Master will maintain this, but the team, they update this. Okay. So Jira has built-in, Rally Dev, all these tools they have built-in burn down. But if you don't have it, you can put it on Excel spreadsheet. Okay. And you can use Excel spreadsheet. So basically, you put your days in the bottom and hours on the y-axis. Okay. And then you will draw the top of your hours, like 300 hours, right? And join it to the last day, right? And I use this analogy because it happened to us, like when our parents would go on vacation, right? We had this budget, cash in our hand, and we have like 2 weeks. So let's say, okay, I have X amount of money, like $2,000. So it means I can spend $1,000 a week or $200 a day. So if I'm exceeding $200 a day, hey, put a little break next day. You know, we don't want to run out of our funds. Okay, so same thing sort of mindset.
Yeah.
That you are given 300 hours, you need to eat it up, finish it out in 2 weeks. So you draw this line, you get this straight line, starting from 300 hours all the way to the end of the 2 week. Okay, so now you start spending money.
500 first day.
If you spend 500 first day, you know you will run out of money before that.
Yeah.
Right? But in terms of when you're working, it's awesome. Your boss will be happy, like, oh wow, you burned 500 hours of work in first day. It means looking at that pace, we will finish it in 4 days. So let's pull in more stories, right? But if you are not burning 5 hours, so 200 hours of work, let's say we have 300 hours, right? So 300 divided by 2 weeks, like 150 for 1 week, right? So maybe 30, yeah, around 30 hours a day. So if we are not burning 30 hours a day, we'll be left behind. So we have to burn 30 or more every day. Now, doesn't mean that we stayed at work and we put in 30 hours, but the amount of work you finished, it was not equal to 30 hours. That's the bad sign. What you're looking at, the amount of work you have finished, is it 30 hours worth of work or no? You could take maybe 40 hours to finish 30 hours of work. It's possible someone stayed late to get it out, right? Mm-hmm. So that's what we are monitoring. We're not monitoring how much time you spent, but how much amount of work was done.
So it's 30 hours for the 5 team members, right?
Yeah, 30 hours for 5 team members.
So they're just looking at the output, production. They're looking at the output.
They're looking at the output, like what tasks were done, what tasks were completed in that first day, right? So you can say, okay, so we finished maybe X amount of work yesterday. So you enter that in your burn down chart. So so this red line indicates you try to be at this line or below this line, because that is showing you 30 hours, every day you subtract, you get this brown line or this red line.
That's your ideal.
That's your ideal. That's the ideal pace or the ideal velocity. And that's what we use the term, we call it velocity.
Not
Team velocity.
Not regression or anything.
No, we use the term velocity. It makes sense too, right? How fast you're burning the work. Okay. So it looks like if I follow this blue line, throughout most of the part of the sprint, we were not doing good. Actually, this area is very concerned. I'm very concerned that on this day, okay, can someone tell me how can it go up?
People not showing up, productivity going down.
Okay, if productivity is not going down, let's say, yeah, the hours went up. See, if you are working and something got done, then it will go down. Let's say you don't do anything, then it will stay at this point.
Yeah.
Let's say if you get a flat line all the way up to here, it means nobody was available. Nobody was doing anything, right? Because
Or they're stuck with something.
whatever is gone, and you stay. But going up, well, what happened here?
Something is critical going on.
No.
Tasks are being added.
Yes. Someone modified the scope. Or it's possible that after you got your hands dirty into the project, you realized, no, it's not going to take this much, it's going to take more time. So you bumped up the hours. Okay?
Yeah, that's what I'm telling. Something is it's not on time, so I'm just taking more times. I thought I can do it with 4 hours, but I cannot.
Because when I hear the word something critical going on, actually everything in project is critical.
Yeah. On that part only.
Yeah. So basically, this is an indication either the scope changed, somebody pushed in extra work,
Yeah.
or you realize that, hey, we thought it will take X amount of work, but it's not. Now, keep this in mind. This is very important. I'm going to recall that this day today. So usually things when they are unknown, it is hard to estimate. If you're working on a car for the first time, like fixing the brake first time, you know how to change the spark plug, very good. You can estimate. With brakes, you'll be like, okay, if it takes 2 hours to complete, definitely it's going to be 4 hours for me because there's so much unknown. I don't even know that when I'll sit down to fix the brake, I'll realize I'm missing some important tools that are required. Okay. So people will say, why don't you do some kind of investigation on it first? Okay. So what they do is they add another thing in the sprint called task, which is called spike.
Spike is meant for research.
Spike means you go ahead and do research and come back with more information. So now you have a better idea. You can.
Is that calculated in the burn down?
Yes. So what you do is when you're planning sprint planning, in there when you just see like, okay, oh, we need to work on brakes. We need to add a spike here for research.
Would that be for one person or the whole team? Or?
If you need a whole team for the research, which chances are not, it's a bad idea, right? So appoint one person and send this person for spike.
Okay.
Yeah, let Seb take Okay. So anyways, it could be that you realize, that's not the way this module is supposed to work, and we learned it and we had no progress that day, right? So we added more hours, then no progress, maybe slight progress, and then we start to go. And now finally we were able to catch up. This happens every day, it gets updated. Okay, just imagine, 2-week sprint started, next day you're ahead or behind the schedule. Now your Scrum Master can quickly get up from the desk and try to maybe get more people or something, right? But if this were a waterfall model, towards the end of the delivery, maybe like, let's say it's a 6 months project, maybe on the 5th month, your project manager is jumping up and down like, hey, we are behind. So here, every day you're behind or you're ahead.
So 2 weeks. So each week is 7 working days or
5. Yeah.
5 working days.
5 working days. Yeah. This is another thing funny. So I was telling one person like, yeah, we're implementing, Agile Scrum. He's like, oh my God, this means I have to work long hours and on weekends. And I'm like, no, I don't want to say that. He's like, well, in the previous company I was working, this was the situation. I was like, well, the problem is your team must be giving wrong estimates. And that's what happens. You give wrong estimate. Now they expect, everyone is expecting you'll finish. You're not finishing on time. At least meet your commitment, right? I mean, you committed that, yeah, we will be able to do this and this, and now you're not. Then work on weekends also. Okay. So best thing is don't overcommit, right? Be honest that you say and see like, hey, can we do it? And that's what this retrospective meeting is for. To say, look, we were unable to finish because we overcommitted ourselves. We didn't do a proper estimation. We didn't do thorough analysis. We just jumped to conclusion, oh, we'll do this and do this and do this. Okay. All right. So if you see your burn down, like hey, this is your actual, right? And if it's below this red line, you're good. If you're on that red line also, you're still good. Anything above that line is concern. Okay.
So you were mentioning this is a 10-day process, basically?
No, it could be a max 1 month.
So this is showing
23 days.
23, so this would be...
I think it's a 4-week sprint.
4
Yes.
weeks.
This is a 4-week sprint.
More than 4 weeks.
Yeah. Okay. But keep in mind, sprint cannot be more than 4.
Oh, yeah, that's what shows more than
This is like a fake diagram.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just like. Okay. So if someone says, what are the units of burn down chart? Sorry.
I have a question.
One second. Hold on here. If someone asks you what are the units for the burn down velocity, say user story points. And I'll get into that. What is user story points?
So that'd be like the slope of it.
Yes, exactly. The slope is the velocity. Right. Okay, go ahead, Jabin, your question.
Can you explain me the completed task in the x-axis? Like, is day 1 it's nothing and day 3 is there?
Oh, that's why I said let's keep it simple. On this part, I have no clue what they're talking about, but I know this red line and this one right here.
Okay.
And that's what burn down chart will have.
Okay.
Don't overwhelm the view with information that is like, my God, I don't know what's happening.
Okay. Yeah.
Because this is good enough information to know that this is your ideal. This is your ideal, right? You should be below this or at this, but not above this. And now, as you are progressing every day, you can see it, what's happening.
And the bottom is the same as the top, basically.
Yeah.
Just like the inverse of it.
Exactly. So don't overwhelm this graph. Keep it simple. Okay. There is something called burn up chart also. Okay. So burn down is basically telling you
Deadline.
how much work is left. This is how much work, right, is left, right? The burn up chart starts from here and goes up this way.
So are you splitting the days with the hours?
Yes. No, what you're saying is your accomplishments will be added like that.
Okay.
Here you're saying I have this much work and how much I have consumed, right? This this anything above this is what you have consumed. This is the remaining part, right? Burn up, you go a different way, like how much we have accomplished, and so line will go like this basically. Reverse again, yeah, reverse. Okay. Why you want this burn up chart? If someone has to have a different perspective, that's all. They have, so this is what a sprint burn down chart. This burn down chart is telling you about the sprint, like how fast we are progressing, right, on that sprint, the status of the sprint. You can also have burn down chart for the product backlog. Okay.
Would that be more precise?
Not necessarily. What it will tell you that the way we are working, because every sprint you will know how many user stories you're burning, right? So you can say if we burn user stories, let's say 30 user stories every day, every sprint. So the amount of work that is in product backlog, how many years it will take to finish. If you want to finish before that, then go hire more people. Because the way we are working, it will take a year to finish it up, or 2 years. Okay. And the different thing about product backlog burn down chart is new user stories get added. So your burn down chart will have upswings also. Okay, it will not be like same or down going like this. Like in sprint always goes down like this, or if you stop a sprint for some reason, like customer said no more funding, it will go like a flat line. You know what happens when you see a flat line in hospital? A person is dead, right? The project is dead, right? I'll show you the burn down chart for product backlog also. So you will see it's a little different. Okay, different terms because things gets added. So you were going down and suddenly a few things got added. So now you have another bump. So things goes up then from there. Okay. So product burn down chart is useful to see like for the entire features. If you want to finish it off, what it's going to take. Here it's for this entire sprint status. Okay. Questions, concerns? It's a very simple chart, right? Many times it is represented by bar diagram instead of this dotted lines. So you will have histogram sort of with this ideal burn. You still have to make the ideal burn down. So all your bars should be below that red line. Means you're good. Your project is fine. Okay. Yeah, there's just like see this is like simple, clean, right? Okay. And now you can have team. You can see that for the team 1, team 2, however. Okay. So what if your CEO decides like no? He looks at the product backlog. He said no, we don't want to finish in 1 year. We want to finish it in 6 months. Hire more people. Set up another Scrum team. So now you cannot put more than 7 plus 2. So you have to create another Scrum team. Should we also hire a separate Scrum Master for that one? Yes, by book, yes. Scrum, according to Scrum Alliance, they say 1 Scrum Master per Scrum team. But you can have 1 Scrum Master handle 2 Scrum teams, but never ever more than that. So the best thing is just 1 Scrum Master per 1 team. But if you really like, yeah, we are squeezing on budget or something, okay. So let them have 1 more project, but not more than 2. Okay.
My question is, who oversees the Scrum Master? Who oversees that kind of stuff?
Basically, you will have a director or whatnot on top of the Scrum Masters.
Okay.
Yeah. So actually, I was getting into that a little bit, which we call Scrum of Scrums. Okay. So let's say I have 1 Scrum Master or 2 Scrum Master, but we have now 2 teams. Okay. We could have 3 teams also in Scrum. Okay. So we're going to have 3 separate stand-up meetings. You cannot call all 3 teams into 1 stand-up meeting. Take too long. Because again, too many people, miscommunication.
So you're
right?
interested in the directors.
And maybe I'm not interested in your project. Right? What you accomplished yesterday or today, I mean, what it has to do with me. I'm focused on my work, right? So, so what they do is, after the Scrum meeting is over for all the 3 teams, they will have another Scrum meeting. It's called Scrum of Scrum meeting. In that, 1 representative from each team will come to that. Okay, and then over there they ask 3 questions, but not what went, what your accomplishments were. Right? I mean, yeah, they share what my accomplishments were, and then they will say also what we did something that may affect your team. Okay, so that also get communicated. So then this another team will say the same thing, another team will say the same thing, and then now all the team these three individuals, they'll go back to the team and they'll convey the message.
Okay.
Okay, so now all three teams are synced up. Okay.
90 minutes.
90 minutes. Is it over now? Little bit on the where I have seen most of the Scrum team fail. So if you look at a project, right? A product, I should say. Make it a little colorful, fancy. So let's say you have the front end of a product. You may have a middleware for this, right? And then let's say you have a back end. Okay. So what some companies will do is they will slice it horizontally, meaning in one team they have front-end developers, another they have middleware, and then another team is taking care of. And what am I doing? And what they will do is they'll say first sprint we will do this. Okay. Nope. Second sprint, they will do this. Oh man, what am I doing? Online, okay. Let me do one more thing. What? Okay, like that, you're slicing it. But if you just build the front end, what are you going to demo to the product owner? Nothing.
Nothing working.
Nothing working, right? So the better thing to do is you slice vertically. So you should have a Scrum team that works, that comprises of the front-end developer, back-end developer, and the middleware developer, like this. You should go like in sprint one, we should have this way. This is what we're going to deliver in first sprint. In second sprint, we will deliver this way.
So it's always functional.
So yeah, so you have something for demo. Not only demo, maybe customer will be able to use it also. Okay, but let's say in sprint one, customer cannot use anything. So then you'll say, okay, so at what point customer will be able to use this product? You will say, okay, if we cut these slices, so this is sprint 3, 1 to 3. Chances are somewhere over here, customer will be able to see something, right? So they'll say, fine. So we'll do 4 sprint, but we will not release anything to the customer, right? We will do a demo and put it on the side. Do a demo, put it, and then merge it, and then do a release. Remember, I said product backlog, release backlog, sprint backlog. In a release backlog,
for each sprint we can do one release.
Yeah, for sprint, then you do a release to the customer.
Isn't that kind of backwards? What Scrum is? They always deliver a finished product.
Yeah. You are finishing product every 2 weeks. There's an increment. The process is iterative, right? But there would be some instances where even though you have built something, but it cannot be used by a customer. You can do a demo, but you cannot.
We can do the release also in every sprint.
But let's say if it's usable, and you can say, okay, yeah, you can release it to the customer in one sprint. So you can release in one sprint also. But in situations where you cannot, you just hold it and do another sprint till it becomes good enough to be delivered to the customer.
In certain cases, we can combine for a sprint and then do one release.
Yeah.
We can do one release, one after another also.
Whatever works.
Whatever works. Yeah. Best thing is if it can be used by a customer, deliver it. If not, then maybe you want to hold it till it becomes good enough for some big release. Okay. So chances are for that last sprint where you're doing the release,
A lot of testing.
not a lot of testing. Maybe a lot of overhead for like deploying the product to production and whatnot. So make sure in your last sprint you incorporate your time for that production deployment. And at that time, definition of done becomes that this product will be available in the production. Okay? Because for development team, they can say, oh, the definition of done means I'm done. And it's available in development environment. Tester will say, no, I don't have it in my environment. It's not done, right? So they define this done to say in the sprint, like, are we going to go all the way to the production, or it will be given only to testers for testing and we'll stop there and we'll consider that as a done. Okay? So that happens also. So you need to come up with DoD before you start the sprint. Okay? So most of the time it will be DoD is like all the way to in test environment, we deploy, we test, and we do a demo in that environment.
DoD again was
Definition of done. Definition of defense or Department of Defense, right? Okay. So make sure your team has front-end, middleware, and back-end developers. Because many times a back-end developer will be reporting to a different manager.
you have different company, right?
Maybe, yeah. Let's say if you're outsourcing, the chances are, they'll still work with you, right? And then this manager is not releasing this person. No, I'm not going to give it to you, right? And for your sprint because he reports to me. If you have that kind of mindset, things will not move.
Nothing will work.
Nothing will work. Okay. So basically, you pick these people from maybe different departments and put them in sprint, and they have to work with each other as like one team. Yeah. End of the day, he can go and report to his previous manager. I mean, his manager to say, okay, I've done this. I'll be done with this project in the next 2 weeks. If you have anything else for me, let me know. Blah blah. Okay. Questions, concerns at this point? No. So our next session will be covering over estimation, but before that, let me build some knowledge on estimation before we get ready for it. Yeah, please. Oops, my bad. I think that's good enough. Okay. Okay. First of all, when someone is estimating on any project, estimations should come from the person who's going to perform the job. Rule 1. Rule 2 is if your estimation is 85% accurate, you're achieving that accuracy with whatever process you're following to do the estimation. As long as 85% accurate, you're good. If you're trying to go and fine tune by changing the process of estimation, let's hit for 98% or 90% or even 86%, you'll be wasting money because there is no return on investment. We need estimation accuracy because your company can suffer losses, poor planning will happen, all that stuff. But all that is good as long as it is 85% accurate. Below that, you will lose money. You try to go beyond that, the extra effort you spend to go beyond like 85%, there is no return on investment.
Standard is 85%.
Yes. If you're achieving 85%, don't try to improve the process more for estimation. That means you have a very good estimation process, right? Number 3, what does estimation means? It's not going to be 100% accurate. That's why we use the word estimation, right? So it's always going to be inaccurate, right? But that inaccuracy is plus minus 15%. You can be off, okay? But if you're achieving 90, 95% accuracy, that's okay, that's good. But don't put extra effort on trying to get drilled down to better accuracy, okay? And also, if something is going to take you, let's say, 2 hours to do, and you have 6 people in the meeting room, and you spent 1 hour each, you already spent 6 hours in estimating a 2-hour job. You should have done it, by now, right? So those are some of the things you need to keep in mind when you're doing estimation. So you have to come up with the process of quickly estimating with 85% accuracy, and you're good. Okay. So this diagram, basically, I wanted to show is you should put effort to get at least 85% accuracy in when you're estimating a project. Beyond that, it's waste of money. Really? Yeah. If you're trying to say like, no, I want to be 90% accurate because I'm unhappy with 85%, so fine. Go ahead, change your process to achieve that 90%. But the amount of time you'll be spending to get that extra 5%, there's zero return on investment. Okay, this is the sweet spot. Your goal, if you're below 85, then try to achieve 85. Then spend time to achieve 85%. So your goal should be to achieve this sweet spot. This is where or maybe this is the sweet spot. This is where exactly there is no return on investment. So once you're at this sweet spot, you're good. After that, the return on investment just plateaus.
And our axes are.
Oh, okay. So basically, return on investment versus time spent. Okay. So if this is your return on investment and amount of time you're spending, it goes, it's directly proportional. Mm-hmm. The more amount time you spend on estimation to get accuracy, or you can say accuracy versus the amount of money you're getting, actually, not time. But as soon as you go beyond 85, it's just no return on investment. Okay. The word estimation means it's an estimate is not accurate, right? It will be off. A person who's going to do the estimation, do the work, hands-on job, mm-hmm. They should be the one who should be estimating. They'll give a better idea. Because they know how long it will take. Because you may work faster than me, right? Mm-hmm. So you maybe you can do it less amount of time, right? So your estimation will be better than mine. No, not your estimation will be better than mine, but it will be less hours than me, right? So those are a few things, and also if something is going to take 2 hours to do, and 6 people are sitting down in a meeting, spending 1 hour to estimate, that's 6 hours gone already. You guys should have gone already and get the job done, right? So we have to come up with a way to estimate not only fast and accurate, it should be at least 85% accurate. Okay. Most of the estimation is done based on your previous experience. Okay. Right. If you have not done anything, this is for the first time, it will be difficult, but once you do it, you have a fair idea like how long it will take to do it. Okay. What else? Okay, yes. Now, the big challenge in IT is IT projects are really hard to estimate.
Because you're doing something else.
Every time you're building something different. Okay. I can have this remote. I need 100 remotes. You said, oh, it takes 1 hour to make a remote. So we're saying come after 100 hours. Maybe I'll give a little bit of cushion. Come after 105 hours. I'll have 100 remotes ready for you. In software, you cannot do that. Every feature is new, right? So it becomes very difficult to estimate. So there, in software, you heavily rely on your previous experience. And what we do is usually projects that we have done so far, we know how much time we spent on it, right? So we use those features and how much time we spent on it as a index or key for us to always refer to say, okay, the project you're going to do now, the new one, is it less complex or more complex than the ones listed here? So you can say, oh, you have a 10-hour project, you have an 8-hour, you have 6 hours, and you're like, it is more complex than the 10-hour. So it has to be more than 10 hours, right? So you could use all those experiences and maybe even make a list. So your entire team who's estimating, they can look at it and say, oh, yeah, you're right, yeah. Or you may say, oh, remember last time we estimated on this user story 20 hours, but it ended up as 30 hours? We have a proof, right? So keep in mind before you give me the estimate. So you use all that information to estimate. All right, so next week we will learn something called poker estimation. So we'll go over it. Then we will dive into some differences between waterfall and agile. Okay. Maybe some more materials. And then we'll do a question, like a quiz on the 4th day, like next week, Sunday. We'll have a little quiz. After that, you guys are on your own for the Agile Scrum certification. So basically, go on that website, get your certification out if you want to. I mean, that's $30. That's why I'm saying do it. But honestly, market value is 0 for that.
So get that one.
I'm sorry? Yeah, that's the ultimate one. No one is going to give you, like, let's say, if someone doesn't know where it's coming from, they'll be like, oh, wow, you're certified, right? Okay. But if someone who knows it, they'll be like, I know Scrum Alliance, where is this coming from? And they may go online and say, oh, it's a $30 thing, right? But I can assure you, the material they have put it out there is awesome on that website.
That one.
No, the material on the website, the Scrum Alliance.
Okay.
Not the Scrum Alliance, but the Scrum Institute.org, the certification, yeah. Yeah, the $30.
$30.
Yeah, the $30, they have, the material is awesome, so go over it. Yeah. And if you are curious, like, okay, I read this material, but how much do I understand? Go give an exam. This way you know where you stand, okay? I'm sure you all must be already loving this Agile Scrum compared to Waterfall.
Very interesting.
Right? Yeah. You could use this in your real life also. Like, I mean, not real, but any other non-IT projects. But make sure, if everything is very predictable, like in manufacturing, we don't use Agile. Why? Because I know it's 1 hour to make one remote, 100 remotes, 100 hours. I don't need Agile Scrum. Okay? When there is some variables where it is the certainty or the amount of information that you don't know, things like this, some amount of unknown and some chaoticness, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if it's like a totally chaotic project, a lot of unknowns, even Agile Scrum will not help you there. Okay. Actually, I may have a diagram. you go. Let me see if I can make a view image. There you go.
I was looking at this yesterday.
Oh, you were?
Anarchy.
The anarchy, yeah, there you go. If it's anarchy, nah, he cannot. Okay, there you go. So close to certainty, so this is the part you can do. Complex, yeah, complex. Anarchy, no. If it's totally, you know, certain, then again you don't apply there. You should have some more ones. This is still little. Let me go back right here. This one. There you go. So the complex one you can add. Far from agreement, far from certainty. Okay. All right. Questions, concerns? Yes, no? So we'll stop at this point. Anyone who wants the link, let me know because this is coming from a different account.